I don't know when life decided to take everything from me. Maybe it happened slowly, in the quiet moments no one notices. Maybe it happened all at once, like the world just exhaled and forgot to let me breathe again. There was a time when I thought I understood what it meant to have something, a purpose, a direction, a place to belong. But loss has a strange way of rewriting your story without asking permission. It leaves you standing in the middle of your own life, looking at empty hands, wondering how they got that way. And yet, even in that emptiness, there's a space that wasn't meant to stay hollow forever. This speech is for you, the woman I haven't met yet, the one who will walk into a life that looks broken from the outside, but is still waiting, still believing, still holding on to the idea that love can arrive when everything else is gone. Because sometimes, losing everything isn't the end of the story. Sometimes it's where the real one begins. I remember the moment life became quiet. Not peaceful quiet, not the kind of silence you choose when you want to rest. It was the kind of quiet that comes after something has been taken away, the kind that makes the world feel larger than it should, colder than it should, like you're walking through rooms that still exist but no longer belong to you. I didn't lose everything in a single day. It happened piece by piece. Plans faded, people changed. Dreams I once carried with certainty slowly slipped through my hands, until I stopped trying to hold them. You learn strange lessons when that happens. You learn how loud memories can be. You learn how heavy empty space can feel. You learn that strength is not loud or impressive. Sometimes strength is just waking up, breathing in, and deciding to keep going without knowing why. There were days I walked forward without direction, not chasing anything, not expecting anything, just moving because standing still felt worse. I stopped asking life for answers. I stopped expecting fairness. I stopped believing that things happen for a reason. Loss doesn't always teach you wisdom. Sometimes it just leaves scars and calls it experience. But even then, somewhere underneath all of that, something refused to disappear. I didn't notice it at first. It was small, quiet, persistent, like a light you only see when everything else is dark. The ability to care, the ability to imagine that somewhere, someday, someone would see me not as what I lost, but as what remained. I don't know who you are yet. I don't know where you are, what you've been through, what kind of days shaped you into the person you've become. Maybe life hasn't been gentle with you either. Maybe you also know what it means to rebuild yourself in ways no one else can see. What I do know is that before you, I learned how to survive. I learned how to stand with no applause, no reassurance, no guarantees. And survival changes a person. It removes the unnecessary. It burns away illusions. It leaves behind something honest, something unpolished but real. If I had never lost everything, I might have met you differently. I might have been distracted. I might have taken you for granted. I might have been too full of noise to recognize the calm you bring. But now, there is space. Space to listen. Space to understand. Space to value the way you laugh. The way you pause when you think. The way you exist without trying to prove anything. When you've known emptiness, you don't fall in love with appearances. You fall in love with presence. With someone staying. With someone choosing, again and again, to walk beside you without needing a reason. I won't come to you as someone who has it all figured out. I won't pretend to have perfect answers or an unbroken past. What I will bring is honesty, the kind that doesn't disappear when things get hard. Because I've already seen hard. I've already stood in places where giving up would have been easier. And I didn't. Not because I was strong, but because something in me believed there was still a chapter left unwritten. A chapter that didn't look like loss. A chapter that didn't feel like endings. A chapter that sounded like two footsteps instead of one. Loving you won't be about filling a void. It will be about recognizing something familiar. Like finding warmth after years of cold. Not overwhelming, not sudden, but steady. Real. The kind of love that doesn't need grand promises. Just shared mornings. Quiet conversations. Knowing glances. The understanding that we are both here, not because life was easy, but because we chose to keep going long enough to find each other. And in that choice, in that persistence, there is something stronger than anything we lost. There was a time I believed pain was something to avoid, something that meant you were going in the wrong direction. I used to think that if life hurt, you were failing at it. But losing everything changed that understanding. Pain didn't ask for permission. It arrived, stayed, and slowly rearranged the way I saw the world. It stripped away certainty. It took away the idea that tomorrow is promised. It forced me to look at myself, without the distractions, without the noise, without the things I once used to define who I was. At first, it felt like destruction, like standing in the aftermath of something that could never be rebuilt. You look around, and nothing seems familiar, not even yourself. The person you were before doesn't quite exist anymore, and the person you are becoming hasn't fully formed. You exist somewhere in between, in a space that feels uncertain and unfinished. That space is uncomfortable. It's lonely. It tests your patience in ways nothing else can. But over time, I realized that space wasn't empty. It was being prepared. Prepared for someone who wouldn't need the old version of me. Someone who wouldn't have connected with the life I thought I wanted. The loss made room for honesty. It made room for humility. It made room for understanding that love isn't about having everything together. It's about being willing to stand beside another person while you're both still figuring things out. If I had never gone through that breaking, I might never have learned how to truly see another human being, not for what they represent, but for who they are in their quiet, ordinary, extraordinary existence. Pain slowed me down. It taught me to notice things I once ignored. The way time passes differently when you're not chasing it. The way small moments carry more meaning than big achievements. The way a simple conversation can feel more valuable than years of ambition. It reshaped my priorities without asking, without negotiating. And somewhere in that reshaping, it carved out a place that didn't belong to my past, didn't belong to my losses, but belonged to something that hadn't arrived yet. You. Not as an answer, not as a rescue, but as someone who would step into that space naturally, without force, without expectation. Someone who wouldn't try to fix what was broken, because it was never about fixing. It was about understanding. About accepting that everything that hurt, everything that disappeared, everything that changed me, was also quietly guiding me toward a connection built on something deeper than convenience or timing. I stopped asking why things were taken away. I started asking what remained. And what remained was the ability to care, the willingness to trust again, the quiet hope that someday I would meet a person who understood that love is not built in perfect moments, but in the ones where you choose not to walk away. The pain didn't close my heart. It reshaped it, made it less naive, maybe, but more open in a way that is deliberate, conscious, and real.